So what is Among the Whispers Provocation? It is a ghost investigation game. What it's not is another Phaz clone, thank God. Phaz is a great game, and honestly, even some of the clones were pretty good. I really enjoyed all those. But, you know, enough is enough. If you're going to make a ghost game, make it different, right? And that's what Provocations is. It is a different style of game that puts more focus on the investigations. My personal favorite part is listening to the recordings of what the ghost has said to try and make out what was said, because that's actually important. But trying to describe a game like this is kind of difficult, so why don't we just hop into some gameplay and I can show you. So the whole game does take place in this mansion, but this mansion is huge. It's got 3 stories plus an attic area. It's big enough that I got lost in it once. So we'll just, how about that? You do play a set protagonist, Stephanie, and your very first investigation will be a tutorial level where it'll walk you through almost all the game's mechanics. But some of them it does miss over, and for those, if you get stuck or confused, you can hit escape and go to tutorial/key bindings, and you can look at everything here. One of the things that it didn't touch on that did end up confusing me a little bit, and I did not realize this menu is here, was the Jacob's Ladder, because you have to actually change the voltage on it depending on what kind of ghost you're dealing with. Okay, with that said, let's take a look at a little bit of gameplay and how you'll typically start an investigation. So you show up here, you come over to your laptop, you check your emails to see what kind of investigation has taken place. So a lot of this stuff is kind of fluff. The first couple times you read the game, you'll probably want to read over the email, kind of get a vibe for the game. But then after that, you know, you're pretty much going to be like, I've got a haunting in and or around the library. We'll click on that. And then in and around the art room. Now let's say you forget to click on that. Pop out of here and you tab to bring up your little deduction board, and I clicked on library, so it put the library in the deduction board. I can now click on the word library and boom, there we go. It highlights it in green all the way over there, and you can see that's where the library is. So we've got a haunting over by the library that we'll want to check out. We'll click on the art room like we should have done, which I just did that to illustrate that when you click on stuff, it puts it here on your deduction board. The art room is on the 2nd floor, and it is right here. Sorry, I turned my hand the wrong way. So these two are like on almost polar opposite sides of each other. And you can see base camp where we're at. There's never a haunting in base camp. You're always good to go back to base camp. And also, the ghosts don't kill you in this game. The most that can happen in this game is that your character Stephanie can have a panic attack and then she sort of blacks out, and then you come back to here at base camp. Also, something to be aware of is that the clocks move in real time. Hauntings typically start becoming active about 10 p.m., but at 5 a.m., all paranormal activity ceases, which is essentially your sort of like game over. You probably go ahead and head out, and then you start the round over and try again, right? Okay, so the next step is actually starting the investigation here. So now we need to go get our equipment, right? Well, the equipment is always on you. It's all stored in your backpack. The backpack is kind of interesting, but it's definitely a new style of control scheme, and that may take a little bit to get used to. Left click to put things in your left hand, left click again to put it back, right click to put it in your right hand, right click again to put it back. So if you do like a left and a right click here, and you're like, you know what, I don't want the thermometer, left click to put it back. That takes a little bit to get used to, I think, and can definitely come off a little clunky, which has inspired me to do a one-hand challenge where you just use your right hand. The benefit of this is 2 things. One, with your left hand free, you can always check your sanity and your heart rate, which is handy. The other thing is that you'll only ever have like one piece of equipment in your hand, which is important with how this sanity works. The biggest hits to your sanity that you will take is when a ghost does something that you could capture via recording or photograph. but you don't capture that piece of evidence. When you fail to do that, your sanity and your heart rate will take a hit. If you are using equipment in both hands, you can have a recorder and a camera, and no matter what the ghost does, you can always, you know, take a picture and or record it, and this pretty much prevents the ghost from ever lowering your sanity. You know, this is a 100% like safe way to sort of like play the game, right? Which, if you want to play the game that way, that's cool. That option is there. If you want to be able to hold two pieces of equipment, that's cool. That option is there. But playing with only one hand means that you're not going to be able to capture all the evidence, and it adds a little bit more like threat and challenge to the game, which I personally enjoy. So I will always be playing this game with just the right hand, I think, from now on, and I kind of enjoy that. I think that's kind of cool. But I also kind of like the fact that it's optional, and the other hand is there if you want to use it. Okay, here's the library. Now, the first thing we're really going to want to do is establish that there is indeed like a ghost here.
Unusual cold spot there.
So the EMF, there we go. We've got a cold spot. Oh, wait, why is the EMF going off? But the temperature is not going down. So the EMF is going off, but oh, here we go. Here we go. Temperatures are also going down.
These EMF levels are unusual. These temperature fluctuations appear to be paranormal.
There we go.
This EMF activity is definitely paranormal.
Okay, so we've kind of confirmed a paranormal presence now. And that's important for being able to establish the ability to provoke the ghost and get it to be more active. Over here, there must be wiring behind the wall, and that's why your EMF is Okay, so yeah, the ghost is whispering, if you heard that. Let's go ahead and get our recorder out. Actually, more than that, let's go ahead and get our video recorder out, which you can set up. I want it in a good spot because we know it's around this rug area a lot. So I'm going to set it here. C to rotate that a tad, pull it back here, press V again, place it. It's doing a lot of whispering and I'm missing it. I'm going to put this over here just to see if it travels over there. That's an EMF pod. It'll tell you about that in the tutorial and how to use it. And here we have a dots projector, which is just to sort of like track the ghost. When these are more of a yellowish hue, that means it's kind of detecting movement. This thing is top. Oh, there it was. Did you see it in front? It was there for a moment. See, my heart rate's in a bad way. Okay, so the dots are turning yellow, so it's definitely hanging out here around this rug. And like, that's what the dots projector is for. It's not evidence. It just helps me know that the ghost is hanging out like here in this spot. Or if I wanted to, I could put the dots projector maybe farther away. Like over here to let me know if the ghost is not in an area. Because if you can get like away from the ghost and your character like knows it's safe, they'll calm down and you can get Stephanie's heart rate. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yep. So that ran the heart rate up a little bit. So, oh, close that. We're gonna go ahead and head back to base camp here. So we've got, that's a shadow. That's a shadow. Shadows tend to be a little bit more aggressive. Once you get back to base camp, Stephanie recovers really quickly back here. But you see, like, your sanity can go south, like, really quick, right? Really quick. And I realize I'm using my left hand instead of my right hand, but whatever. It's my challenge. I'll do it however I want. But, yeah. Well, hold on here. I was about to say that's a pretty good demonstration of the game, but let's listen to the recording. So we hold left click since it's in the left hand, and that brings it up. We've got a volume. She screamed. That was kind of loud. There really isn't anything to discern there, but some, you know, we kept hearing that whispering chatter. There might have been something to discern with that. So we could have listened to that. We can do the same thing with the video recorder. Sometimes the ghost will reenact things, and you need to maybe analyze what they did, try and figure out like what the ghost is trying to tell us, right? Now, if the ghost isn't cooperating, and they very rarely do, you'll want to start using the provocations, as they're called. Oh, subtitle drop. And that's where you'll come in here and talk to him a little bit.
Anyone here who wants to talk?
Little mini quick time. Oh, we got to say something. Now, you see that little white dot on the watch? That's showing that the provocation is like basically still having an effect on the ghost. It's still active. If we do another provocation, we'll want it to be a different type. This one's really talkative. Okay. All right. So that provocation ended. Let's go ahead and get into a different room since this thing is so aggressive. Let's see if we captured anything here. We did. The video camera will automatically record anytime there is like paranormal activity. So I didn't even see this. Look, I did not even see that it was just standing here. Because the shadows are really hard to see. So that's kind of fun. We'll upload it just to kind of keep that because it's kind of fun. And I'll show you what uploading does in a second. What do we have here? Again, I was in my backpack. I didn't see it. This thing really likes appearing like next to me and behind me, which is something shadows do. That is an actual just behavior pattern they tend to follow. Okay, looks like we only had like 2 videos here. It doesn't look like anything significant happened. It was mainly just kind of like sitting at the edge of my vision a lot. So I'll go ahead and delete this one, and we'll delete the one we uploaded. If we want to reference the one we uploaded, it's here. It's saved until we delete it, and it's a lot bigger and a lot easier to kind of like see, right? So if you need to analyze stuff, like this is really where you'll analyze it from. And you can do the same thing with the audio. So let's go ahead and get our recorder out. And this scream was pretty pointless. There's no reason to save it, but I'll just save it just to show you here. And I'll delete it just to clear the space, because you can only, I think, have like 5 things saved. Recorder back down. But now we have a copy of the recording. Oh, this wasn't the scream. I forgot. We captured an actual whisper. Oh no. Okay, there is one drawback to uploading it. You can't turn the volume up. When it's on the actual recorder, you can turn the volume up and it's a little bit easier to hear. I can't make that out at all. Maybe we get a better recording of it a little bit later. Okay, so the next thing you might notice is the weird little symbols here. This is literally just for your personal use as the player. So like we're in the library, which is this little like cluster of squares, and we know we're dealing with the shadows. So I might do that. This has no impact on the game or anything, but we've got 2 ghosts, and it might be beneficial if I want to keep hold of this evidence to mark what evidence is being found in what area, just so you can keep track of it. You also don't have to do this at all if you don't want to. And I typically really don't, actually. I will probably often focus on one ghost at a time. So we've got 2 ghosts here. However, I don't know what late game looks like. I'm only in chapter 1 of 5 chapters. There might be 4 or 5 ghosts active in like the late game. And in those scenarios, you might actually probably need to keep your evidence sorted a little bit. I'm not sure. I haven't been there yet. All right, last but not least, there's one more thing that I want to point out. And you're going to find little things like this little charity ball thing right here. These are archives. Chapter 1 archives. These are all the things I found. What was it? There's the charity ball right here. Right? And what these do is these tell the static story of the mansion and like what's going on and like why there's so much tragedy here. Now, this isn't glowing purple because I've already found it. But if you stumble across one that you haven't found, it'll typically glow purple. Stephanie will say something like, "Oh, what's this?" You know, it'll very much draw your attention to the things. When I found that one, I was just walking, you know, on my way to the staircase. And, you know, it did a little pop-up. And the tutorial will also tell you about these too, right? So these are pretty easy to find. But they are scattered around the mansion. So you won't find them all immediately. You'll find them through the course of doing multiple investigations. And once you get enough found, then you'll move on, I guess, to chapter 2. And what that means, I don't know. But I do know that while the game does randomize the ghost names and what their tragedies were and all this stuff, there is a static story with the mansion and the events that take place around it, and that ties a lot of your tragedies and stuff together. So you do have like a story that you're uncovering and something that you're working toward, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that pretty much sums up everything I think I wanted to say. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more on this game, I will be streaming a lot of it, so you can go check me out on Twitch if you want to. And as always, don't forget, like, dislike the video, and leave a comment if you have any additional questions or just want to throw a comment down. With that said, catch you in the next one.